Puta madre.
Okay, we are live.
That's Spanish.
Scusi, porcario.
Okay.
That's fine.
So now, okay, we start at the best because now we are online. So thank you guys. Have a great evening. We start to introduce our guests here. Tony, Demolition Man from Venom Inc. Thanks, Tony. Be here.
You're welcome. Hi. Thank you for having me.
Just want to spend some words about Volt Lab. We are a new music association based in Naples. We try to give a voice for thousands of projects, art projects, cinema, and music that are struggling in this era. Okay, yeah. So we have the honor to have Tony here as the first guest of this series. So thank you, Tony, again. And
yeah, thank you very much.
Let's start with the first question, which is your beginning as a musician and your influences and all the stuff about your early days as a musician.
Well, the place I come from in England will not be too strange to most Italians because it's a very working class area, and it was about ship construction was the main industry. And when I came back from Canada into the north of England, there was lots of unemployment and people, young people had very little money and very little to do, very much like now. And of course, when youth has deficiencies in their social status, like no money and no jobs and nothing to do, they find a way to be creative, and it usually comes out in music. And you have revolutions in music, like Elvis or the Beatles, or of course punk rock in the UK with the Sex Pistols and the Clash, and then you had the movement in America with the Ramones and the Misfits, and then New York Dolls, and then Venom kicked a big hole in a wall that was corporate music. That meant that you could actually you didn't have to have loads of money behind you and a massive record company behind you. If you wanted to do it, you just fucking did it. And I think that attitude that they had in the late 70s, that pushed a hole through the wall, and everything followed. Everything followed that. Metallica's and Slayer's, and look what we have now, just the most amazing musical scene. And when the corporates say underground music, these days they use that to distinguish between what's kind of they're selling, the Rammsteins and the Ghosts and all of that, against where it comes from, which is the kids and us, people in bars and clubs and in rehearsal rooms working crazy on internet making music. And I think that it was no different for us when I began. My sister had an acoustic guitar, and I always wanted to play it, but I didn't know how to play it. And when I eventually got it from her, it was so old and rusted. It had 3 strings on it, but I didn't care. So I just used to pretend to play songs on it. And then I even made an album cover out of some cardboard and put it in my record collection. And then every day I'd get up and think, oh, what should I have a listen to? And I'd pull the albums apart and I'd find mine and pull it out and go, oh, that's my album. So, I had this thing. I just wanted to make an album, and I loved punk rock. I went to every single show I could. I saw everybody from, the Damned to the Slits to everybody that I could get to. I couldn't get enough of it. It was like a revolution for me. It was like, oh my God, I don't have to be the best musician or the best singer, but I can express myself. And this is amazing. And then I walked into a club one day to see a band I'd never heard of. I thought they were kind of a punk band, and everybody said, no, they got long hair. They're like hippies. And I was like, oh, okay. And I heard this noise. It sounded like somebody backing up a truck. And it was Lemmy Kilminster's bass guitar. And it was Motorhead. And I was like, oh, my God. I walked out shell-shocked. I'd never heard or seen anything like it. It was the coolest thing to look at. It was the most amazing thing to hear. And I just knew that's what I want to do. So, I managed to get my mom to come with me and buy on a hire purchase, a bass guitar for me. After going to every shop and not knowing what it was called, I kept going, I've got to get this bass. And they'd bring out these bass guitars. I go, no, it's not that. It's not that. And they go, what is it called? I go, I don't know. And they go, well, what does it look like? I go, it's kind of weird. And then we did all the shops, and my mum said, that's it, fuck it, we're going home, I've had enough. And there was one more shop, and I said, please go, can we just look in this last store just in case? And she said, no, we're fucking going home. And I said, please, Mama, come on. So she, bless her, she took me to the last shop going, fuck, he doesn't even know what he's asking for. And I said to the guy in the shop, I want to get a bass guitar. And he's like, oh, what kind of bass? I went, I don't know. And he said, well, do you have something in mind? I said, oh, yes. And he said, well, what does it look like? I said, it's kind of weird, I don't know. And he said, oh, you got to give me some more to go on. So he said, well, which bass guitar is it? I said, well, I saw this band last night at the university. And he said, Motorhead. I went, yes, that's them, Motorhead. And he said, oh, a Rickenbacker. I went, yes, I guess that's it, yes. And then he brought it out, and it had 4 strings, and I figured, well, that's the one. And I took it home in a box and held it like this. And then I just sat at home. I didn't have a strap. I didn't have an amp. I didn't have anything. But I sat with just this bass guitar on my knee, and I learned every single moment that Lemmy played off the first album. And then I got Overkill, and I learned everything off there. And that was the beginning of my journey. But by the time I was doing bands and stuff, I guess, that was my journey in metal. I mean, I'd been doing some punk stuff and that, but I really turned into, something more then. But I think what we did then, all of the bands, including Venom and Tigers of Pangtang, Raven, Metallica, Slayer, all of the bands then were underground bands. We were in clubs playing to fans. And it when I hear the term underground, to me, it means where it begins. It's like the birth of something. And I love that. You could say that tattooing is the ultimate, and Da Vinci or Michelangelo was underground because he was inside buildings painting a ceiling, for example. Whereas now the culmination of that kind of incredible art becomes tattoo artists, and that's the exposure of it. So it's kind of in that way. I think it's all connected. Yeah. So that was my kind of journey anyway. Sorry.
That's where you begin. Now, can you tell us about the early days of Venom and Atomcraft?
Yeah, well, at that time in the area we lived, there was like hundreds of bands. Everybody you met was in a band or played a guitar or was doing something. We all were enjoying the music that was around, and it was like the heart of a heavy metal city. And all the famous characters that became famous. And I had my band, and of course there was one record label near the town, and that was Neat Records, Impulse Studios. And I first took my punk band in there. We went to look to see if we could do a demo, and the guy at the desk said, if you go upstairs to the studio, there's a guy up there, he'll show you around and explain stuff. So we went, okay. So we went up there as a punk band, and the guy we met who showed us around was Conrad, who was working at the studio on a government course, So he was explaining everything. And then he'd said, he had a band too, they were kind of heavy metal, and they were going to record something. I was like, oh, okay. Didn't think anything of it. And then fast forward a year or so, where I lived in my street, across the road was a girl who had some brothers, and her boyfriend was this guy who used to walk up and down. I used to see him, who had long blonde hair and a handlebar mustache, and he used to wear cowboy boots with flares, and he was called Jeff Mantis. And I used to see him going up and down all the time. And then her brother came over to my house one day, because he used to come to my house and jam guitar and stuff. And he knocked on my door real quick, and I went to the door, and he said, oh my God, my sister's boyfriend? And I was like, yeah, the blonde-haired kid. He was like, yeah, fuck, they just made a record. And I was like, fucking no way. And he said, yeah, look. And he held up a 7-inch single, was In League with Satan. And it blew my mind. I was like, oh my God, people like us don't get to make records. We do demo tapes and stuff, but we don't make records. That's for like real people, real bands. Anyway, I took it in, we played it, and I was just blown away. And it was done at Neat Records. And of course, I'd done demos there, and it had become the label by then. And Raven were friends of mine. And that's how we wanted to get on there. So it took me quite a while. We kind of split up about 1983, and I went to Canada for a year, and I returned back late 84, and then traded a very nice guitar I had for a really shit bass that Conrad had. Kronos used on the live 1984 Hammersmith show, this Black Flying V, and it was a piece of shit. But I had this really brilliant guitar that I had bought in Canada to play over there. But I didn't care. I just needed to have a bass. So he thought he was getting a great deal. But for me, it was like, I got a bass. That's good. So we traded. And he said, so you have a band? And I said, well, I kind of just come back from Canada, but I need a drummer. And he said, I know a drummer. And he introduced me to Jed Wolf. Jed was the brother of Eric Cook, who used to manage Venom. And also he was their drum tech for Abaddon. So we kind of all blended in together at that point, and the rest was kind of history. So we'd always been around each other, and we knew what was going on, and I knew who they were, and obviously their music and everything else. And every time you went to a bar, you'd see one. So it was kind of like that was what was going on. I don't think any of us realized the impact that was having outside of that area, but we kind of our musical journeys and our lives were in parallel. And so, when it got to the Filmcraft tour that we did in 1988, and then Venom had finished Calm Before the Storm. It hadn't been a very well-received album. People felt it was a bit less kind of Venom. And I had worked with Mantis on his solo project, just shooting a video for his solo thing, helping him out. He asked me, and yeah, so we finished an Atomkraft tour with Nasty Savage and Exuma from Germany, and then we were going to have a sit down because we'd been writing for a new album for Atomkraft, and we were going to try and get a new record deal. And the Abaddon and the manager just approached me and said, "Look, Kronos is left. He's gone to America. He wants to go solo. We have a deal on the table for a new Venom album with Music for Nations. We need a bass vocalist, and you know us, and you're one of the biggest fans, and you know what you liked about us, and you know when we changed how it kind of went different. So we want to go back to what it was before." And that was it. I said, okay. So I began writing for Primeval, the album. And then there was an issue because I didn't feel that it could be a Venom if Mantis wasn't there. I always thought that you could have a Mantis and a Kronos. You could have a Kronos and an Abaddon. You could have a Mantis and Abaddon. But could you have just an Abaddon? And I thought maybe not. You need to have one of the other characters in there because they're huge characters, all three of them. So Jeff didn't want to work with Tony anymore, Abaddon. And so it was left to me to convince Jeff to come and play in Primeval, Venom, do the Primeval album. And we always get on so well. We're like brothers. We always have been. And musically, we get each other completely and we complement each other. So Jeff said, "Are you going to do it?" I said, "I'll do it if you do it." And he said, "Well, I'll do it if you do it." So we did it. And that was how we got there.
Nice.
Anyway, before moving forward with the other questions, there are some guys that put some question in the comments here. Okay. We have Maria, which is my girlfriend. Ciao, Maria.
Ciao.
Loving the way he's keeping his guitar like it's the most precious things he has. And also she says, how was meeting Lemmy in person?
Oh, what is he? There he is. He's always with me. You know, it was amazing. And I once had a girlfriend, just about the guitar hugging. I once had a girlfriend who said to me, you know, I think you love your guitar better than you love me. I said, you know, I do. And she said, how could you say that? I said, it's never going to cheat on me. It's never going to tell me a lie. And it's always going to be there when I need it. And that's why I love it. But anyway, it was amazing because the first few times I met him, I couldn't even say anything, you know, because he's Lemmy and it meant so much to me. And so I'm never been a kind of comfortable in those situations with my heroes. And I'm not a ligger, so I hate going to get passes to somewhere because I always feel kind of weird that I could get in for nothing when people are there. But, you know, I seized an opportunity. 20 years ago, I was somewhere backstage. They were doing a tour with Anthrax, and I went back with a journalist friend and a guy from Sony Records, and I had an opportunity, and I just spoke to him, and he was just brilliant. Of course, you know, I thought I could tell him how much he meant to me and how he changed my life and blah, blah, blah. But he had probably heard it a gabillion times. So I was just another guy telling him, you know. But I just asked him more kind of spiritual questions, I guess, you know. How do you feel and how does it feel and what's your take on the whole thing, you know? And so the next time I met him, he remembered, and I got to talk again in the same way, you know, and it felt much more comfortable then. And then the final time I saw him was about a year before he died. You know, he wasn't doing so well, and I just got an opportunity to see him, and I just said, look, you know, I don't want to hold you up. I know you got stuff to do and you're tired, and I just want to get this opportunity in case I don't see you the next time. Not saying until you might die. I just thought, you know, I'm gonna get an opportunity again. So I just said, what should I do? How should I be? You know, what would your advice be? And he said, always respect your fans and just be honest. That was it. And I thought, okay, that's what I will be. And we were in America on tour and with Venom Inc. And we got to a place and someone came to me and said, Tony, Lemmy's died. And I went, what? And he went, yeah, he's gone. And I was like, fuck. So my technician came in, and at that point I was only drinking silver tequila. That was all I would drink. No beer, nothing, just tequila. And my technician came in and I said, will you do me a favor? Will you go get me a JD and Coke with ice and go and put my microphone into a Lemmy position? Because tonight I'm going to take him with me on stage. Look, I'm getting emotional now even saying it. And that's what we did. I went on and we that night we played Motorhead as a cover. Ryan Waste from Municipal Waste joined us on stage, and John Gallagher from Raven, who were in town, and that was the tribute to him, you know. And then every show, you know, I've had some people who don't know the story will see us play now, and they'll say, oh, he's got his microphone like Lemmy. I went, yeah, I have. And I put my War Pig necklace on every show, and I have a Jack Daniels before I go on stage every show, because he was so important to me as a musician and as a person, and how he was, that he was an example for musicians on how to be and how to conduct yourself. He respected everybody, and he respected his fans more than anything else. And he realized why he was able to do what he loved doing and who he was, because of his fans. And I'll never lose that, ever. I'll always appreciate the fans and how they treat us and how they are with me. And that's why on social media I'm so open with everybody and talk to them, because I appreciate the fact that they are interested and they want to buy our music or listen to us or come and see the shows. And so every day I go on, when we play, I take him with me. So he's always with me. I'd never lose him. And I'm not trying to be Lemmy. Nobody can. And I'm not trying to mimic Lemmy. Nobody can. He was just him. But it helps me to know that that's why I'm there, because of him, you know, because of how he inspired me. And so that's what I'm doing. I guess every show for me is a tribute to my hero.
That's really huge, because Lemmy is, I think, it's the godfather of an entire genre. Personally, he brought me to know punk rock music, because I started to listen Motorhead at 7 years old.
Yeah.
I just watched the music video "Rock Out" from the album Authorized, which is me. And I said, I was really a young kid. I said, God damn it, I want to do this in my life.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I start to play music with my brother, which is also the best player of my band. And yeah, basically, Lemmy is what is the fuel of my own career. We can say that too, even if I'm a drummer. Anyway,
I think that's one of the things. Is like, even people who I've met who don't like Motorhead, or maybe don't like the sound of Motorhead, and go, hey, I'm not really into Motorhead, but still go, but Lemmy's like this metal god, because he's the apex, he's the crescendo of how you should be as a rock and roller, of how you live and how you are, and when it's about music. And you know, I did an interview the other day, and some guy said, what would you say to a young musician? I said, if you know, I speak to young musicians all over the world, from, you know, South America, from Guatemala to Japan to China to Russia to New Zealand, and everybody says, and everywhere in between, and everybody says the same thing. Yes, but it's so hard for us, for the bands. And I said, you know, it was never easy. It's never easy. You don't wake up one day and go, I want to be a guitarist, and the next day go, now I want to be Metallica. It just doesn't work like that. So, you know, you have to take the journey. And, you know, Lemmy died a legend. Nobody would argue that he was a legend. From the lowest band on the platform to the biggest band on the planet, everybody would go, Lemmy was a legend. But for the first 5 years or so of Motorhead, they couldn't get arrested. Everybody said they were shit. Nobody wanted to know. They played to hardly anybody in the club. But it didn't stop him. And that's what I tell you guys. If you're meant to do it, if it's who you are, nothing will stop you. And you'll get there, because that's who you are. And the people who get to a point where they go, fuck it, I don't want to do it anymore, they were never going to get there. They were never going to be that. They liked the idea and they enjoyed doing it, but it wasn't who they are. And when you're a musician and this is what you're going to do, you know that that's nothing will stop you. You can not eat, not shower, not have any relationships, have no money, but as long as you've got an instrument, you're going to fucking keep playing. And that's what it's about.
That's great. That's really, really great. Anyway, I'm reading also the comment. I just want to read some of those. Juan Vargas says, greetings for Colombia. And he said the experience in Latin America in the last tour. I will also, Tony, tell you more questions so we can answer all the guys that try to talk with us without any problem.
Yep.
Sylvia from Sylvia, ciao Sylvia, said weird thing happened in tour with Venom. And Rocklex said, Tony, I remember now very well the beautiful cock interview.
Oh, I haven't got my cock with me. Sorry, Alex, I don't have my cock with me. I should have done that. Actually, if we do it the next time we do another one, because Alex is in Austria and he runs a label called War Records, has an amazing collection of his own music, Hickory, and he actually did an Atomcraft 7-inch with me, which was brilliant. And I did an interview at Bloodstock, 2 years ago, and I had this little cock, little model cockerel, and so I had it in my pocket, and then I would go to people, would you like to see my cock? And then I get my cock out. And Alex sent me a few months ago a t-shirt that says, are you looking at my cock, with a cockerel on it. So I promised I was going to wear it, and I forgot to take it. So I do apologize, Alex, but I will get my cock out for you next time.
Tony's wearing Italian t-shirt because we are talking us. Next time he will wear the
Proud.
cock t-shirt. That's huge. That's really huge. Anyway, greetings from Albania. They asked another comment from Gonzalez said, "Your three are great. Greetings from Mexico. Kirion, I'm your fan." Kirion and me, for those who don't know, we're playing in Jumpscare. I'm the drummer, he's the singer. But now, talk with Tony. Talk with Tony. We are not do self promotion here. We are talking with Tony. Anyway,
it's still cool. Still cool for them.
Anyway, David Young said, "Do you think we will ever get re-release of Venom albums that you were on?"
Well, funnily enough, that they have just, I think, Plastic Head Distribution with Dissonance Records have just released my Atomcraft stuff on vinyl and on CD, and Primeval's just been re-released. I think it was done on the cheap because some of the tracks are spelled completely wrong on the back, but they've just done the Primeval one. But there's a problem with the other releases because the master tapes were sold to Sanctuary Records, who were then bought by Sony or Universal BMG. So now there's a complication over ownership, so they won't license the other music. But they've licensed Primeval, so Primeval's just gone out. So if you go to Dissonance Records or Plastic Head, you'll see that you can get the album and the CD again. But the other two albums, not so much. But that was why, you know, when myself and Mantis were doing Empire of Evil, the last album we did before we were recording the new album, where we had we called it Crucified, and we basically took the best songs that we felt from the Wastelands and from Temples of Ice and re-recorded them with Mark Jackson on drums, who's now with Acid Rain, and so we did that so that people could get some of the songs kind of in a re-released form. So I think at the end of the day, Primeval's out, but maybe the other material we're gonna have to re-record. And I know for a purist, that's the worst thing. They don't want to have the album re-recorded because it's then reproduced and, you know, it's smoother and it's not like, it doesn't have the same kind of passion in it. But that's the only way, I think, because politically, I don't know what's going on. The reason the albums were held up from re-releases for so long, to be absolutely honest, is that Kronos is signed to Spine Farm, which is a subsidiary label of Universal, and Universal had the master tapes, and Kronos doesn't want to have any Venom that's not him out. So, you know, they had to just sit there on a shelf. And I was like, kind of, you know, people distinguish between myself and him. So what difference does it make? You know, if you buy a Primeval or a Temples of Ice, it doesn't mean you can't buy it over Satan or black metal, and you're going to like whatever you like. So I thought it was a bit strange, but that's where we are with that.
Okay. Another question is the weird things that happened to you on tour with Venom Inc, I suppose. Well, one of the weird things.
All of it. Yeah. I don't think there was any. I mean, you know, usual things. You know. All kinds of crazy stuff like tires blowing out in the middle of the night, nearly going off a cliff's edge in nowhere when the driver couldn't see, had no lights on. You know, just the roof lights blowing out on a motorway on a rainy day, all that kind of stuff goes on. But I think maybe other than not getting ever paid by Venom or their management, you know, which I never got paid a penny, so that was kind of harsh. But I got to play music with the fans, so, you know, that's what I'm about, really. You know, money you can get anyhow you want to have it. But music is not about money. Music is about art and passion. You know, if you paint a picture, you paint it because you want to paint, you want to express yourself. you don't paint it because it's going to give you $20. You know, you work a job if that's what you want to do. So, but one of the craziest things I think was probably me abusing myself was we played a place called Rude Boy in Poland.
No.
And it was, you know Rude Boy?
Yeah, I know the venue. Yeah.
Okay, right. Well, Pauli, who owns it, drinks too much vodka, cherry vodka, and he can drink it like a Pole. So he drinks it until, you know, he wants to not drink it, and it has no effect on him. But I'm only a little guy and English, and I don't drink all the time. So we turn up at the Rude Boy, and he had done sound mixing for us on a tour before. And we get into this club, and it's like 10 a.m. in the morning. So I sit at the bar, and everybody's loading in, and there's some breakfast, bread and cheese. So I have bread and cheese and some meat and my breakfast with a cup of coffee. And the girl behind the bar, she comes and she puts a shot glass down in front of me with this liquid in. And I said, excuse me, what's this? And she said, it's for you. I said, well, what is it? And she went, it's cherry vodka. I went, cherry vodka? It's 10 o'clock in the morning. And she went, it's from him. And I turned around and there's Pauli with a big smile. And I'm like, Pauli, fucking hell, it's 10 o'clock in the morning. And he said, have one, just have one. So I had one. Unfortunately, then all of a sudden it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And the tour manager, Alex, who actually is Italian from northern Italy, has a studio up in Lake Como. He was tour managing, and he came up and he said, Tony, it's 4 o'clock. And I went, okay. And he said, we're going to sound check. I went, okay. He said, do you think you might want to go outside just to have a walk around? I said, no, I'm fine. He went, I think maybe you should have a walk around first. And I went, okay. So I got off my stool. I walked to the door. I thought, I'll have a cigarette before sound check. I opened the door. I swear on my mother. I opened the door. I put a cigarette in my mouth. And when the outside air hit me, I just collapsed. I blacked out. Bang, I hit the road. And I couldn't get up. My legs didn't work. And everybody was trying to get me up. I was like, I'm fucked. That's it. I'm dying. And they walked around with me, putting Coke in my coffee and sugar in my mouth for 3 hours before the show. And I went on and did the show. And I don't think I spoke to the audience. I just played every song and sung every song. And, Mantis did all the talking and played all the guitar parts. But in between every song, I would like play the song. So I'd be like, ah, and then the song would finish, and I'd just turn around and put my head on the wall and just stand like that until I heard the guitar part for the next thing. And then I get up and play the next one. And I don't remember a thing. But I know that the singer from Vital Remains, Brian Warner, had videotaped me lying in the bus, in the alleyway of the bus, going, please let me go to bed. And he was just laughing, and people going, you're not going to bed. And I was going, I need to go to bed. Yeah, crazy. So yes, I think that was the craziest moment.
Nice.
Really, I enjoyed your thing, which is really great and crazy. Pure rock and roll. Okay.
Yes.
I'm my brother that now is near me but is working, doing smart work, said, Graziano, please tell to Dolan this question. Okay. For a best player, which are the things that a musician have to do to evolve himself and never repeat himself record to record? I think he say about composing, also the style of bass, this kind of stuff.
Okay, I mean, I think each song has its own being. So, the settings on your instrument, or whether you use this bass or that bass, because you can have 3 Rickenbackers. I'm endorsed by a company out of Holland called Bo L, and they make the big generator. So it's kind of my bass now. And then I use my own signature pedal. Look, I'll show you, which is this has just been modeled for me from America. Oops. So this is my signature distortion. And so I use my Bow L with this, and I can have it clean, or, you know, have a nice sweep on it, or have it distorted. But I think when you think of compositioning, I always just allow the music to come to me. The same thing with lyrics, you know. I create the music, or I hear the music. It's like I always say to Mantis, when he sends me his music, if he's written something and he sends it to me, I see it in images. So it's like I hear music like I'm watching a movie, and I don't think about the lyrics. They just come to me. So the music tells me what it wants to do. And I do the same thing when I'm composing. So I would approach that with my bass playing. I put my fingers on the fretboard. I can hear the notation or the notes. And so I just let my body to do whatever it wants to do. So it's kind of like an out-of-body experience. It's like I'm playing it, but something else is driving where the notes go and how it phrases itself. Of course, you use some technique every now and then, of course, but I don't try and control it. I try and let it show me where to go. And so the music feels much more organic. You know, I remember I wrote a song for The Wastelands, which ended up being called Clarice. And Mantis had some parts, and we put them together. And Abaddon wanted to call it like Black Valentine or something. But every time I played it, I saw the movie Silence of the Lambs. Every time I played it, I saw this woman walking down the corridor to Hannibal Lecter every time. So I thought, actually, I don't think it should be a Valentine song. I think it should be about this Hannibal Lecter character, you know. And I'd read the book Red Dragon, so I was like, yeah, this guy, there's something weird going on there. And so we got to the studio. Jeff had recorded his parts. I'd recorded mine. Abaddon had done his. And the studio engineer said, okay, well, let's do the vocal for this track. And I went in there. I said, can I just have a pen and a piece of paper? He said, yeah, have you got your lyrics? You leave them here and I can guide. I said, I don't have any lyrics. And he said, oh, well, what are you going to sing? I said, I don't know. The song will tell me what to sing. So I actually stood there with my headphones and I did line by line. Every line drove the next line. It was as if something else was telling me what it wanted to say. And that was the music. And so for me, that's the experience when it's, you know, when people say an album's overproduced, or they say, I love the album because it feels underproduced. And what you had after Venom's first album, for example, was you had the Hellhammers and the Quorthorns trying to create that by being underproduced and loose and all crazy. And they didn't try and create that. They just did that. And so when you try so hard to make it happen, it becomes ungenuine in some ways. You know, when it just happens, it's because it's supposed to, you know. We can create the Big Bang in Zurich in a controlled environment, but the Big Bang that created the universe just happened, and we don't know why. But that's why we ended up with us being here, you know. So it's that kind of thing. You can control it, but is it the same as when you don't control it and it just happens? And so, you know, Mantis, when we record for the album, when we do things, he's quite regimented. He likes it all in clean slices and he wants it all in order. And I'm completely the opposite. I'm like, whatever, you know. I'll stand on the top of a mountain and wait for something to hit me like a bolt of lightning and go, right, I know what I'm doing. And so for me, it's very organic. But I think that's why we work so well together, because we have that whole spectrum of direction and chaos at the same time. And then when we blend it in, it becomes really powerful, you know, for us anyway. I hope for everybody else. I hope for you guys, but for us, it definitely feels that way.
Okay. So big shout out to the guy, Brian, that are stealing my question. Don't steal my question. Okay. He said, what was opening for Misfit, which is the original Misfit with Glenn Danzig, Doyle, Jerry Only. which is one of my favorite bands of all time. And he also said the new Another Venom Inc. record. He said,
we were asked by Glenn Danzig to when we did Arvia, he has a festival in a place called Silverado in a lake in a canyon near where he lives, and he had Devil Driver and Ministry and loads of bands. And then we got a message saying, would we like to come and play at the festival? So we said, yeah, that's great. So we went and we played. We didn't really meet Glenn and hang out. I mean, we saw him, but we didn't say thank you, of course, for inviting us, but we didn't hang out or anything. And then the next year, I get a call from his management, and they say, Glenn is doing a tour, 7 shows in the West Coast of America. He's got Power Trip on, Mutoid Man, and he wants to know if Venom Inc. would be the main support. And I was like, wow, yeah, that would be great. Tell him thank you so much. So we did. We went over and did that. Then we spoke more, and he was brilliant. He's such a creative mind. He's like an Andy Warhol of music, he's like weird at the same time creative, but he's always thinking about, the creativity, and I liked him so much. And people misread him a lot, but there's something about him. He's quite incredibly creative, and I had lots of respect for him. And we had a fantastic tour. We were playing to the lowest number we played to was like 3,000, 4,000 people, and then we played to like 15,000 people. And I was like, what's going on here? And it was amazing. And of course, Power Trip are a fantastic band, and Mutoid Man are on another level completely. So it was like, well, with these amazing bands on this cool tour with Glenn, who was being just so generous. And we thought that was it. I thought, he doesn't do too many shows. That's what it is. And then, we got a call, and they said, look, Misfits are doing a show with Jerry and Doyle. They're playing Chicago Arena. It's like a 15,000 seater or whatever. And they want you to come and play it. And it was like, what? And they said, yeah, just fly in, fly out if you would. It was like, fuck yeah. So we did. And Jerry's, amazing as a person. He's just like us, he's a real person. And he's really cool. Doyle is the same. Doyle is quiet and this mammoth of a man. And what a performer. He looks just so fucking cool up there, but he's just such a nice guy. And they were all there, and Power Trip did it again. And it was incredible, to walk on stage, the three of us, with the lighting state we had in front of like an arena full of people, was like fantastic for us. But then I got to watch the Misfits whole show, and I think they did maybe 3 hours or something crazy like that. And they played every song. So it was like bang, 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 bang. And I was watching it going, fucking hell, this is insane. But what was crazy was the crowd sung every lyric to every song, every single lyric to every song. You had 15, 20,000 people or whatever it was singing. It was like, I was just standing there going, what the fuck's going on? This is insanely cool, And I mean, the whole experience was amazing. We talked about a lot of other things that could happen, but I kind of think they have their politics and all that. So but for us, it was just brilliant. For Glenn to invite us to play his festival, the Blackest of the Black, then to get to do the tour with him, and then to finish the whole thing off with the original Misfits in Chicago. It was snowing outside. It was a typical snowy Chicago night, and then you go inside this fucking gigantic arena with the noise. It was like, wow, it's the stuff that makes you think, this is why I do what I do, because there's moments like this, and they stay with you forever. Yeah. Amazing.
I also saw the bass drum skin with the Venom logo incorporated with the Misfits logo, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Because Misfits is one of my favorite bands all time. So it's really, really great to that you shared with me this emotion. This thing's really, really huge for me. I was just going to say, I actually had
the same T-shirt as Doyle. We have a friend who's called Dale Hoover who lives out towards Kansas, and when he, before we did the Misfit show, he came to our show and he gave me a shirt that he'd printed himself, which is the Misfit skull, but it says Motor Fits. So it's like Motorhead Misfits, Motor Fits. And so I wore the shirt. And of course, when we got to Chicago, I thought, I got to put this fucking shirt on. So I had the shirt on all day. And I was going in to get some food. And as I was walking in, Doyle was coming out and he had the same shirt on. And he went, "You got my shirt on." I went, "You got my shirt on." So it was cool. It's the purest way to be, rather than being at a festival and seeing all these bands walking about trying to get recognized and thinking, yeah, I'm kind of special. It was none of that. It was just everybody together, the same kind of feeling like we've got here, except there was this huge show going. So I love that. I love that. For me, being an old punk and being kind of non-rock star, I guess, for me, it was perfect. It was perfect.
That's really, really cool. Anyway, people is asking about news, but I know that you are in the recording process of new Venom Inc. album.
Yes, I missed it. Yeah, I talk too much, but that's the Italian in me, isn't it?
And yeah, I just how can we expect about this new stuff of Venom Inc?
Well, with the I had to have a hip operation last year, about October, November, or August. So we planned on doing Wacken Festival because we did Hellfest and Wacken, and we toured, and we thought, right, we'll get to, when we finish Wacken, that will be it. I'll have my hip operation, get my new hip, and then we'll just spend the time working on the new album. And of course, then the virus hit. So I was like, oh shit. So we thought, well, we have Jeremy, who plays drums now for us, who's now playing for Massacre 2 and has his band The Absence. He's based in Florida, but has his own studio and his kit there and does all his recording there. And Mantis, of course, lives in Portugal, in a place called Tomar, an hour outside of Lisbon. So he has his studio there. And of course, I have my own little setup here in London. So we kind of thought, well, actually, the virus lockdown doesn't change things for us because we compose as we do, we file share. So it's like, it's only the actual being in the same place playing together. But look what we're doing now. If we're laying down a track, the three of us, we've got us here. We've got bass, vocal, guitar, drums. We can do whatever we want to do. So that's kind of how we do it. We kind of file share our stuff. We listen to it together. We discuss it. We can pass it back and forward. And then we kind of are just composing for the album. We've got about 24 together right now, but we've got more coming. Mantis is still writing there. I'm still writing here. And we're just going, let's just put as much on the table as we've got. Once the virus curtain comes down, we'll have all the bass, all the drums, all the guitars, probably all the bass done. And then I'll just fly to Portugal, where Mantis is going to mix and produce like he did for Arvia. We'll lay down the last vocals and work the final lyrics, and then we're ready to go, So I guess for us, when people go, it's really difficult for bands because you can't go out and play. And we did have a lot of shows, like lots of bands. And Italy, we were playing, as you guys know, and we had to fucking start cancelling all this shit. But it's like, okay, well, we can't do anything about that. We'll just reschedule, and then it'll happen when we can. And so the shows are all happening like that. But I thought, well, it actually means that we can use this time to be as creative as possible and maybe have 2 albums worth of material at the end of it or more, So that's kind of how we're utilizing the time. So in a way, it kind of hasn't changed for us. The scheduling of the album, I wanted it to go out maybe March, but then it was like, that's not kind of practical because Nuclear Blast has a new online distribution. And before, you would have to deliver your artwork and your recordings 3 months before release. Whereas now with the online distribution company, it has to be 4 months before. So, I was thinking, okay, it's not going to be March, it may be June. But if the lockdown takes us through summer, so we're not going to be able to play live anywhere. And I think we're very much a live band. I mean, we do studio stuff, of course, but I want us to play the stuff live. So if the album's delayed until we can release it, then go out and play it, then fucking that's perfect for me. You know, I think we don't have to have any pressure on to get something online. I mean, right now, Jeff has began doing studio reports. So if you go to his Facebook page every day, he does a studio report, plays a little bit of the album, talks about how he's setting up, how he's working on his in the studio and doing stuff like that. I think tonight he's doing guest, like you could pick a Venom song and he's going to show you how he plays it, and he's going to do some of them. So, you know, we're just trying to be as interactive as possible, and so it's working out okay for us at the minute. So hopefully that's until we all go crazy and start eating the neighbors and accept. But yeah, but so far so good. So far so good. Nobody's dead, which is good.
That's great. Thanks for sharing to us those things, because some people asking in the comment section about please tell me the Venom new album. Okay. He told us, Tony was really glad to share this with us. That's just really huge. Okay. Anyway, Andy says inspirational guy, Demolition Man forever. Yeah.
Grazie. Thank you.
And basically a guy, Brian, just steals some question, and I will go forward, saying, can you please say something about your experience with Empire of Evil? Because I know that you collaborated with Francesco Frullo, which is now playing in some Italian thrash metal big acts like Extrema, or the Advargate music band called Yanva, and many other bands too.
Yes.
How was working with him, and also your experience in general with that project?
Well, you know, Empire of Evil, we kind of began as Primeval, and it was from Mantis was doing his own project called Drill, and they played a show in Newcastle, and his drummer had broken his ankle doing a festival, so he needed a drummer to do this show. And Anton, who is Anthony Lant, who was Kronos' brother, who had done Resurrection album, and then I think he did Metal Black and Hell with Venom once Mantis had left again, had also left Venom. And he called up Jeff and said, you know, I could come and sit in and play the show. So Jeff was like, oh, yeah, that would be great. So that's what they did. But when it got to the end of the set, people wanted to hear a Venom song, because why not? There's Mantis and there's Kronos' brother Anton. So they went, fuck it. So they played black metal, and Jeff sang it, and it went up on YouTube. And then people started going, fucking hell, you guys playing, you should get the Demolition Man and do something, you know? And so they thought about that. And then I was doing a different job completely as a production manager I'd done the Olympics. I was doing stuff for Rammstein and stuff, and sets and moving pieces and stuff. And Jeff called me and just said, look, this is what's happened. We've got this idea. What do you think? And I was like, oh, I don't know. So I said, look, okay, if we do this, then you can never put your guitar under your bed again. You've got to do it until we cannot do it. So that's it. If I say yes, that's it. We just keep going. And he was like, okay. And that's what we did. And that's what we done. And Anton, there was some issues just about the first 2 hours after we did the first recordings. And I just didn't want any politics anymore. I thought, you know, I've been ripped off in my music career by Venom, their management, my record label. I don't have any money. And then all the politics of, you know, Dolan's this, Dolan's that. When I stepped into Venom, and I thought, I don't want any of that. I just want to play music to some fans who want to hear it. And if that's 10 fans, it's 10 fans. And if that's 10,000 fans or 1 million fans, then that's what it is. But I don't care. But I just want that. No politics. So it seemed to be that the early stages of the band was going to be political, and I didn't want that. So I just went, okay, that's it. So we changed. We brought in a guy called Mark Jackson, who's a phenomenal drummer. And, you know, Anton, I think Anton is an incredible guitarist. I mean, the guy wrote and played all the guitars, most of them on Metal Black and on Hell, you know, and not the guitarist they had. He did it, but he's a great guitarist, also a really great drummer. So I'm like, fuck, he's like a natural talent. So I knew we had to get someone who was really good, and Jackson is really good. He's like a mashup between Dave Lombardo and Ginger Baker. You know, he has an old school head, but he's a young guy, so he has a now technicality. It was perfect, and we toured with that, and it was all going well. And then I guess he just wanted to move up a notch. You know, he just wanted to do more, and so we parted ways with him. And I had some shows coming up. I thought, what am I going to do? Fuck, we need a drummer. So I called Peso, my friend from Necrodata in Genoa. And so yeah, just brilliant. And so I'm, Peso, you have to help me. And he was like, yes, of course. What do you need? I said, we have a show, and we need a drummer to play with us as Empire of Evil. Okay, I said, I can send you all the songs. When is it? I said, it's in 2 weeks' time. He went, Tony, fucking hell, puta madre. No, I can't. He was like, I can't, mamma mia. And I was like, you can. And he said, that's too much. I can't do it. I'm too old. And I said, Peso, please, I need you. And he said, no, but I know someone who could. And he introduced me to Francesco Frullo La Rosa. And so I spoke to Fran, and I just said, look, Fran, this is the deal. It's like 2 weeks' time. It's in France. It's at this festival. I mean, I can send you the set. Yeah, send me. It's fine. I said, but I can't come and get you. Can you get there? I mean, I can pay you to get to the festival. You know, yes, I take a train. It's no problem. And I'm like, okay. And I'm thinking, is he really that good, or is he just being very Italian, going, it's okay, you don't worry? You know, I was like, he's so relaxed. But anyway, we hadn't met him. We hadn't even met him. So I tell Jeff, and Jeff is like a worrier. So Jeff is going, fine, but we don't know this guy. And what if? And I said, it'll be fine. He's so relaxed. He's going, I know, but Tony, I'm going, it's okay. So, and I was thinking inside, fucking hell, I hope this works. We turn up at the festival. We meet Francesco. He's fucking brilliant. We go on stage and we play. And it's like he was always in the band. He played the songs like he always had played the songs. And when we came off stage, we'd never met before this show. We came off stage and people going to us, man, your drummer, fucking hell, that guy's good. I mean, yeah, how long has you guys been together? I was going, well, this afternoon we were together. That was it. But he was brilliant, Fran. He's such a sweet guy. But I mean, just music is his life, and he's so brilliant. He's such a talent and such a really, really nice guy. I will tell you one story though. We were in a place in Russia on tour, and it was a small club, and they kept calling it the Vodka Club, and I was like, oh, okay, because because people drink vodka. And I was like, oh, okay. And then it's Russia, right? And then as the night grew on, I realized how much vodka they meant about. So by the end of the night, it was like, fuck, these people were absolutely wasted. And Jeff doesn't drink, but I was, drinking and thinking, okay, I'm safe because I'm with all these Russian mafia guys and they're drinking, so they're looking after me. And one guy came in and said, excuse Tony, can you help me? And I said, yeah, what's the problem? He said, your drummer. I said, Francesco. He went, yes. He's naked chasing the barmaid. And I sort of and Fran was completely drunk beyond, he didn't know who he was, but he was completely naked running after this barmaid. And he said, I don't think he's allowed to do this. I was going, Fran, and we had to get him. I had to hold him while the other guy was putting his trousers on. And Fran was like, I'm so happy. And I said, Fran, you have to calm down. Yeah. Jeff wasn't very pleased, but it was very funny. It was very fucking funny. Francesco, this mad Italian running around a bar in the middle of Russia, totally naked. Yeah, brilliant. Anyway. I'm sorry, Fran, if you hear this. I'm sorry I said that, but it was true and it was fun.
Shout out to Francesco, which is an amazing drummer. Also to the guys from Necrodet. We bring them some years ago with another association that we collaborate called Impatto Rock. We set up a gig in Napoli, and they really, really sold out the venue. It was a great night. 300 people attended the venue. Really, really great guys. Pledged us space, but really, really great. So shout out to them. Also, a big hug to Natas, which is one of the guys behind Impacto Rock that bring Necrodeath and many other bands here in Naples, such as Paul Diano some years ago. Basically, we in Napoli we are doing this collaboration between association just to help the scene to come out, because we have a lot of great bands.
Yeah.
But here in the south of Italy, the situation is a bit strange.
Yes.
I think that the situation is equal in all the, as you said at the beginning of this interview. But here we have no more the historical venue that allow us to play metal, which is really, really difficult. For this reason, Volt Club is born. And thank you, Tony, for this chat. And now I wanna just dive into another question. I don't wanna make this interview longer, but it's really, really fun and pleasant to hear you and your story. I'm really, really having a great time.
No, me too. We can do it again. We can do another. We can do a part 2 if we run out of time. No problem.
Okay. When this man, I remember when this madness ends, we have to do 3 days together in Italy.
Yes.
So we have the time to talk.
Exactly.
But anyway, okay. Tony is freezing now in the screen. I wait that. Tony, can you hear me?
Yes.
I saw your face is freezing like this. And okay.
I think
It's okay. It's okay.
Before I want to make you another question, please let me say this thing to you. I'm really was into Venom when I started to listen to music, so it's really an honor having you here. I started to listen to classical albums like black metal, but I was really into Primeval, and I really grew up with you, Misfits, Metallica, also Lacuna Coil, which is more modern band from Italy. And I remember some years ago, I attended a festival here in the south of Italy, the big festival here called Agglutination, playing with Venom. Yeah. I was so excited because I want to watch the set of Venom, and I was really pissed off that Kronos didn't take any photos, performed really bad, and it was in the first line of the crowd. And when he said, "I just want to do this because I'm really an honest person," at the middle of the set, he said, "Guys, there is only one Venom." I really yelled to him, "Fuck you, Venom Inc is better." Your humbleness, your kindness is really set up like here, because I tried with this association to get the interview. I've written interview in the past, never replied me. Nobody replied me. You was so really great to reply me. For me, it's a really huge honor. I'm really here because I'm talking with one of my childhood heroes, because I cannot hide this. My face is really red now, and basically, I want to say that for me, your music was so inspirational. Even if I started to listen another genre, but when I was a little child, I really dig into your music. I spent a lot of afternoon listening to you, and having the possibility to play before your set means a lot to me. So I want to really thank you, and to all the people that allow us to become part of the postponed Bloodstained Italian tour. Well, for this reason,
thank you. It's very nice of you to say.
I just yelled that sentence, "Fuck you, Venom Inc is better," and I walked away from the crowd and I said to a friend of mine who was here, what really the famous thing can ruin person, because I think that people are not like this when they are trying to start a product. I don't want to do a polemics between Venom and Venom Inc. In fact, I skipped some question in the feed, but I just want to say this because you was very, very kind enough to just join this chat with me and Kirion, just by a message, a Facebook message, a totally informal Facebook message. In fact, I just wrote to you, sorry if I disturb you because I have so many bad things. So it's really, really, I cannot really say thank enough to you and all the things that you are sharing to us. I'm a really sincere person, so hope that we can have a better talk in person when this has in hands. You have saved a T-shirt and a CD of us here because I want to take your sweatshirt. So please, if you have an extra large sweatshirt, please save because I wanna wear it. And anyway, this topic, it's kind of okay out of conversation, but it links with the question that I want to do between how is working with a major label like Nuclear Blast and the difference between the past music industry and nowadays, because nowadays we have streaming online, Spotify stuff, Apple, also some illegal download, but I think that also in the past, cassettes, CDs, vinyl, which are in trend at the moment. So you as a musician, as also a fan, what's your reaction to these changes, to this evolution of the music industry?
Well, first, I would definitely say that Nuclear Blast began as a label by fans of music. And, several people there I've known for, since we were all young guys going to shows and trading tapes and listening to music. So for me, it's a natural home. Like, SPV, Ollie and Ollie Hand there is just an amazing person and loves music. And, so I have total respect and for these people. And so to be able to be with Nuclear Blast is amazing. And they allow us our creativity. They support us when we ask for it. They don't bother us about things. They allow us the freedom. And if we need them, they go, okay, what do you need us to do? And they've been amazing, absolutely amazing with us. Because we're old fucking grumpy old guys and we kind of have our ways and they allow that. But, we deliver for them as well because we want to succeed and we want to be with them. So, they want us to do 3 albums, initially, and they've allowed us to do it the way we want to do it. And I think that's amazing. Some labels won't do that and some labels will promise you lots of things, but they don't come up with anything and they don't support you. And so for us, I think we're in a really special situation. As far as how it's changed, I think, the corporate industry, when interneting began, for a band, I think it's brilliant because you can be one guy. And there's nobody in your village or in your town that gets your music or that wants to play with you or can play with you. So it's like, fuck, I can't be a band. Well, yeah, you can. Cawthorne became a band, didn't he? There was him. And it's like, so now it's even easier because I don't need to be able to play the fucking drums. I can get an easy drum program or I can download drums from an internet file or I can play them on a keyboard. If I don't play guitar, I can pick some guitar sequences or I can call up a friend and say, you wouldn't play some guitar to this for me and send me the file. I can create my own artwork in Photoshop. I can have my own platform website. I can, stream my music on Bandcamp or on something like that, or and sell it for $1 or $2 or something, So I can promote myself, and with web magazines, with Facebook, social media, there's all these metal communities. I can promote myself on there. So I think that's like the old days. We would make our own flyers and paste them all over the city for a show. We would make cassettes, demos in our house if we had to on little cassette machines. You've used the tools that you have, and so I think that's not changed. The downside, that's the upside. You don't need other people. You don't need an expensive studio. You don't need a lot of money, and you can fucking, on your computer, you can use GarageBand if you can't afford a computer program and you're still making music, so you can still be creative. That's the great thing. The downside, I think, is that the industry changed how it worked and they fucked it up. Because, you know, if everybody remembers how much Lars Ulrich got pummeled for that whole thing about the streaming.
Absolutely,
yeah. Nobody thinks that now, though. Nobody thinks he was all a greedy, rich little fucking twat then because he just wanted more money. But nobody thought that once they started getting ripped off. And then it was like, hang on a second. Now, my take on that is we create an album and we make the album. And I want people to hear the album. If you can buy it at a show, it helps us. Fantastic. If you can't afford shipping from this company or that company, or if it's not available for you, then you can get it. But some places in the world, people don't have money. They can't afford to get it, and the shops don't have the music in there. So they have an option. I could take it as a stream for free, but I have it. I don't mind that. I really don't mind. I'm sure every record company is going, what, you fucking idiot? What are you doing? But I just want people to have music. And if you cannot get it any other way, and that's how you want to get it, but you want to have it, then great. At some point, I'll make sure that my band gets to you where you live and play for you. And that's when you'll buy a ticket, buy a T-shirt, buy a thing. And that's where I'll take some money to help us survive the next time. You know, if everything's being taken off us, we don't have any money, no bands can survive. So we have to find a way to survive. But I think, you know, I just saw a thing, this pandemic happened. What was happening in Italy, in Iran, in China, in Korea, in Japan. And I was thinking, fucking hell, you know, and I've lost friends to this thing. And this is a scary thing. And I saw it sweeping through everywhere, Germany, Switzerland, Austria, you know, Spain, Portugal, making its way to us, making its way to America. And then people were losing their jobs. Nobody could go to work. So there's no money being made. And we were trying to figure out, we wanted our government to pay for our, you know, rents and pay for our food and pay for our, you know, how do we pay our bills? How do we, you know, so we're looking for all that. In the meantime of all that, the bands, some bands I saw start to put up like crowdfunding. Well, we can't tour. So we can't tour. So can you come and buy all our merch and pay it? And it's like, well, I'm sure if somebody's got any money left, they'll probably want to buy a fucking loaf of bread or some food rather than buy a T-shirt from you. Can't you just give them some music for free, seeing as you're locked down? Do something for free, let them have it, and then when you go back out on the road, I'm sure they'll all be back at work with loads of money. They'll come and see you and buy all your shit. So I just thought that's kind of, you know, they're going, we've got to survive because we can't tour. So can you, who have lost your job and are sitting in a freaking, you know, a Padua and locked down and can only go to a store, can you spend what little money you have to buy our shirt so that we can survive? You know, it's like, well, everybody's trying to survive. Let's just come together, do everything we can to survive hand in hand, give everything we can for free. And the stuff you want to sell to people, just keep storing it. And then when the curtain comes down and we all go back to some kind of normality, you'll be able to do that then, because these people will be able to go back to their normal lives and their work. But I guess that was all part of the ugliness I find sometimes of the industry. And it's like, you know, hang on. Let's get it in perspective. Now, I know millions of people, thousands anyway. I'm not Donald Trump, you know, I don't know millions. I know thousands, okay. Well, maybe hundreds. I know 100. Okay, I'm absolutely Hillary Clinton. I know 4 people, just 4. But anyway, I don't know anybody that I know that was asked by the record industry, would you like to not be able to buy vinyl records anymore? Or would you like no more CDs? I don't know who was asked. I wasn't asked. I don't know if you guys were asked by anybody. In fact, I don't know anybody who collects music that was asked. But the industry said, we don't make vinyl records anymore because nobody wants them. We don't make CDs anymore because nobody wants them. Well, hang on. Who did you ask? Who did you ask who said, I don't fucking want them? Because I don't know anybody who would say, I don't want them. Everybody wants them. So it's like the industry thought, we can save money. We can not pay a load of people. We don't have to pay for manufacture. We don't have to pay for storage. We don't have to pay for shipping. And we don't have to pay stores to have our product in there. So if we just go online, it's easy money. We just take money and people just can download the artwork and download the music. And if we're really clever, we get the bands to deliver on contract all of the music mastered and finished, all of the artwork completed. Then the band has to go out and tour. They'll give us the designs for their merchandise and we'll take those as well. So we'll make some money off them, pay them a royalty. We'll have their music. We'll upload it to a Spotify or an iTunes. Cost us like $6 or something for a month. Make all the stream money off there, and we're winning. Our overheads are less and our profits are up. But at the end of that is the bands who were surviving on that money, the advances for recording and all of that support. And so I think that the industry drove the whole thing into a mire, which was what Lars was trying to say. This is not good for the artist or the fans. The fans are now going to get product or getting product that isn't completed. It's not what you intended to do. I haven't finished it yet. Let me finish it and then present it to you. You're taking it before I finished it. And in the meantime, there was no sales being attributed. So it wasn't about, it doesn't matter if you're making $1 million off a record or $10 off a record. It depends what level of the spectrum you're is how important the money is, but it isn't. The point is moralistically wrong, and that was the point. It's not right for anybody who creates, who wants to keep creating and survives on that creation and the sale exchange of that with it, to have it taken from them by somebody else. You know, I had a fan write to me once and said, "I can't afford your album. Do you mind if I take it on a stream for free?" And I said, if that's how you want to get it, that's what you got to do. So just do it. And like you made the point, in the old days, that's what we did with tapes. We traded tapes. You know, I traded tapes with Chuck Shoulder, with Carnivore, Pete Steele, you know, all these people. Schmear was a tape trading tapes, you know. All of these people were trading tapes. You know, the first Metallica demo I got given, and I traded my tape of Atomkraft's Total Metal. I traded with a guy who was trying to sell Metallica and the first album to Neat Records. And we were in the same building, and we were talking. I said, you should hear our new demo. We listened and we traded tapes. I got No Life to Leather, the demo, Metallica, and he got my Total Metal demo. You know, then 1985, we go on tour as Atomkraft with Exodus and Venom. We go to Italy, played those shows. And Paul Baloff, who's the singer of Exodus, first time I see him, he went, "Tony, I had your Total Metal demo, man. I played that shit to death. Every Saturday I was playing that thing." And I was like, "How did you get it?" And he was like, "Yeah, because I traded it off a guy who traded it off a guy who traded it off a guy." It's like, fucking hell, you know? And that's how we did. So the internet makes it easier. It means you can produce it easier and it doesn't cost. But the downside is that the industry has driven it into the streaming thing only. And I don't know about you, but if you guys put your album out, I want to have a physical copy of it. I want to have a physical copy, you know, because I want to look at the cover and I want to read about you guys and I want to read the lyrics and see the pictures and experience it when I'm listening to the music. If it's an album, it's even better. You know, I talked about this with somebody else before, and we said, you know, we might wait for an album to come out. It comes out, it's just the front and the back with hardly any writing on it. But you would listen to the whole album staring at it. I mean, what are you looking for? But you're just staring at it. Just keep staring at it. And one of the interesting things also is if you're streaming, my daughter's 18. So if she's listening to music, it's like click and you get like, I don't know, 30 seconds and it's like, yep, tick onto the next one. And you're like, and after 12, you're going, for fuck's sake, why don't you just put it on and listen to it? But it's everybody surfing, you know, 50 million channels. When I grew up, there was one television channel. Then there was two. Then there was three. It was like, oh my God, 3 channels. I don't know what to do. Now there's like, I've got about 1,000 in there. I'm like, and I've watched my daughter and other people go like, like surf through 500 channels and go, there's fucking nothing to watch on TV. I'm like, oh my God, you can't say there's nothing to watch. There must be something to watch on TV. There's 500 channels. And so, again, I think that's all part of the process. You know, when you have a record or you have an album, you listen to the whole thing. You listen to it. You know, I never had an album. There may be tracks I preferred, but I listened to the whole record. Now with streaming, people might listen to it, you know, they don't listen to the whole thing. And so that's a kind of downside. But the upside is you get to find artists from all over the planet, from, you know, Guatemala to Manila, from, you know, Vladivostok to South Africa. I love that. I love that. It's a whole open world of creativity.
Yeah, as you say, in fact, now people is more distracted because they have so much information they can't handle properly. But the things, this is my own opinion from a 23-year-old guy that started to play now in this moment. I think that the fans who buy your album, it's one of that remains loyal nowadays, because we have a lot of things, and if people say, I want your album, I know that my physical copy goes in the hand of a guy or a girl which will listen to it till the CD broke. If you know what I mean.
Exactly.
This is a great thing. The also downside of this thing, speaking as a modern musician, I say I'm really young. I'm really 20 years old. Also, Kirion is some years older. But we live in this era where singles are more important than the album itself.
Yeah.
Which is in my opinion, is not so good, because you can listen from track 1 to the final track, the evolution, a sort of tracking and mind thing. You can say, oh, the first track is this, but wow, the second track have not a video, but have this particular mood. I love to listen to music in a kind of old school way. In fact, I really have albums that I listen a lot. For example, your Venom album, or for example, the Misfits' famous Monster, for example, that I listened from beginning to end without skipping any songs and singing all the lyrics. And
I think that's a very valid point. I think that it's like, you know, if you go to Venezia and you walk through the alleyways and you go, do you want to have some ice cream? You go and there's like 50,000 flavors of ice cream. You know, when I was growing up, it was kind of probably predominantly one flavor of ice cream. If they said you want an ice cream, it was vanilla. Whereas now you're confronted with all of these different ice creams. You want to try a bit of everyone. And so you don't get the experience of just the one pure thing. You're tasting bits of everything, which is, it's great because you might find one you like. But exactly what you just said, it means that the experience is less. If you've got an album, then you plan an album to take, like we did with Ove. We want to bring you into the story, take you on the journey through the story, and take you out again. You know, if you look at, for example, the end of black metal, you know, you're listening to black, what happens at the end of black metal? At War with Satan begins, but you don't know where it's going. You just hear it start, and then you hear the first lyrics. So it didn't matter whether At War with Satan was going to be the best album ever, was going to be Master of Puppets, or the shittest piece of crap you ever heard in your life. You wanted to get it. Why did you want to get it? Because you wanted to feel the conclusion of the album. You know, and that's the point. You know, the album is a journey of you. It's your experience as a musician through your journey, and I want to take that experience with you. And sure, you can do little sound bites and singles, brilliant, and they can all be fantastic. But I want to, you know, put the headphones on and experience the whole thing. Listen to the story, feel the band moving through their journey. That's what's important, I think. You know, and it translates to a live show, because if you just have little soundbite singles, when you go to a live show, it feels like it's cabaret. It's just this one, then this one, then this one, then this one, then this one. But if this set is painted the same way as your album, you feel you're on a journey. You're on a journey with the band. And, you know, by the time it comes to the crescendo and the black metals or the Countess Basby, you're losing your fucking mind anyway. So it's like, it's perfect, you know? So that's the experience, I think.
Yeah. Also, the one thing that I want to add before going to the next question is that also, okay, the recycling stuff and to make really minimum size booklets. I'm one of the guys that want to bring the booklet, listen to music, and go on and on, read the lyrics. Also, I really love the thank you section of every album, because I think that when some artists say thank you to a person, I think that means a lot, because we just we as an artist want to express ourselves, even if the metal music is some misunderstood here in Italy. One of the reasons that Volt Lab is born also to bring the attention to the people who don't know about metal, but also to politicians, organizations, some about institution in general.
Yeah.
We want to do this thing. I think that one of the most true experience of music is to feel it. I really feel a lot when I listen a lot of bands. For example, I just say the Misfits because we talked about Misfits, Venom because we are talking to you. Also from the classic to the modern stuff. And I really love when some people put a lot of efforts in a CD, meaning the lyrics, because the lyrics for me are important as the music, as you said in the other question. For this and for this reason, I want to read a comment from Fernanda.
Okay.
He said, modern music industry will never able to take our joy and will to hold an album in our hands. No digital content will be ever able to replace a special pleasure owning a physical copy. It's something, in fact, I want to shout out Fernanda and other guys that are supporting my band even during this pandemic time. Of course, guys, sorry for this digression, but I want to say, take care of your family first, and we will play, of course, when this Monday that we will play live, but please take care first, your family, your dear one. We can live without anyway. I think that this comment really exemplifies, which is my vision. I think your vision about music in general, which is really great to have this connection with you now. So really great stuff. Thank you, Tony, again for sharing your experience and your vision. I just want to go forward with that question and just do a step back about the album Ave, which is the first album with Venom Inc. Can you please tell about also some lyrical themes, and can you name also your favorite song of the album? For me and for Maria, which is watching metal, we believe is my fucking favorite song because I feel like something like Motorhead kind of vibe. I also really watched your performance at Bloodstock. Every time when we was asked to play with you in support of your Italian show, I said, okay, I need to go watch 2 videos because we accepted the game. One video was this video from Bloodstock. Another one, which is my favorite for all time, is the Tour Bus, digital Tour Bus video interview. I really laugh as hell when you do the stuff with the vacuum cleaner. I showed to the guy. My brother is really upset because, oh, Graziano, you showed me this video 100 times. I know that Tony at this minute did this joke with the vacuum cleaner or the microwave to say this TV is not working. It's really great. So, about what are your? Can you please tell us about Ave for also the few people that does know about this album, because I think for me it's a really great album. I really dig it to play, and
I think that the way it came together, was kind of special. I think Mantis wrote some music beyond what he'd composed before. And I think we put ourselves into it, our live selves into it. And I think that was what was key. I mean, a favorite track, I couldn't pick two. I love Metal We Bleed, Dein Fleisch. I love, Ave Satanis, Bloodstained Earth, Black and Roll, of course, or kind of tribute to the music that we love. I mean, everything about the album. I loved everything about the album because it was so meaningful, because I didn't want to record an album. I just wanted us to play live, do a few shows, and then go back to Empire of Evil and finish off the album we were doing there. Fran Chesko had recorded all the drums. We had all the parts, and we were kind of ready to go. And we ended up getting to a point at 18 months where John Sazula and Chuck Billy from Testament, we're going, you got to make the album. It's like, I don't want to do that, because then you got to sell it to a record label, and then you get critics saying it's shit or it's great, or everybody wants to opinionate on what you should have done and why you should have done it. And I thought, but we did it, and we just did it from our soul, from our heart. So it's purely from us. And I think the Lucifer on the cover, he's the bringer of light. And if you look at the cover, you can see Adam and Eve, and you can see the tree of war, and you can see the David's temple, and so all the symbolisms in there. The two sheep, obviously the shepherd guides his sheep, but inside one of the sheep you can see there's a wolf inside there, wolf in sheep's clothing. The passivity of Lucifer. There's no cracked earth with flames and fire and screaming and demons. He's quite calm, he's quite huge. And so is he guiding us? Is he showing us? Is he showing us what's happening, or what we've just done, or where we're going? And so I wanted, the cover makes the observer think, what is going on here? What am I actually looking at? And that's what I wanted. I wanted to stimulate you, because like you said about how you listen to music, music is not just a connection between the sound. It's a connection between the guys, you talking to your fans like you just were there. I'm connecting to you. Musically, I've already connected. Now visually, I want to connect with you. So on every level, it's an experience. And the more you can give that to people, the more they become part of it, and the more special it becomes for them. And that's what's important. So, you have a Kronos at a show, just like calling it in and trying to badmouth someone. I'm sure there was loads of people there going, yeah, fuck them guys. But then there's people like you who go, fuck, I don't want to listen to that shit. I don't want to listen to that shit. Just get on with it, Just be what you are. And so people distract themselves away from the music. I don't care about any of that. If they're a cunt, they're a cunt. Then, if they've got a problem with me, then come and see me. If there's something going to go down, it'll go down. But other than that, when I do my music with the people, I'm not interested what you think or what you say, or I just want to play music. And you don't go to play music to people who don't like you. You go to play music to the people who do like you. And so that's the approach. So if you look at the cover of RV, it's to prompt you to try and understand it. What meaning do you get from it? But so is the song RV. Metal We Bleed, of course, Forged in Hell is about the fans and the music and how we feel when we play it. And even in our 50s, we felt like that when we were 16. It doesn't change. Music makes you feel young. When you think Black and Roll, well, of course, we were attributing that to the songs that influenced us, and it's in a kind of Motorheady style because Lemmy had died and we wanted to have that vibe about it. Bloodstained Earth, Preacher Man, those songs, they were an analogy for us, lyrically. I mean, in case Evil Dead was something I had, which I just thought was fun, and I wanted to do something that was about necromancing and alchemy and stuff, and that felt good. And it felt like it was a connection between things like, A Dead of the Night and those classic Venom songs, Sacrifice and all that kind of stuff. Bloodlust, which were all, gothic-y and horrific in theme. So that was kind of that. But generally the theme of the album is us, is us. The power is within ourselves. And if that's how you see as Luciferianism, Satanism, or just atheism, then that's cool too. But it's a positive message, not a negative message. And I think you said about driving a message for fans who may not understand heavy metal or may not have been introduced to metal, but certainly politicians in Italy. Same thing in Rome. Same thing here. They close down venues. It's like fuck. So they want to change the shape. But I started a documentary which begins in Italy, which probably take me another 10 years to finish. But it's about the municipalities closing venues and promoting rock music as being negative, and tattoo art and piercings as being negative. I said, but if Michelangelo had met Da Vinci and Da Vinci had painted the Last Supper on the statue of David, that's like somebody tattooing the shit on me. I mean, how amazing is that? So it's like, opera was the classical Italian, this is what we want to go back, this is culturally significant. Okay, well, who says the bulldozer isn't culturally significant? Who says the bulldozer is, or Steve with Death SS, who says that isn't this generation's opera, Puccini or what, I mean, and that's what I'm trying to say is like, is the music is part of our soul, and depending on what generation you are, it may be as significant as you. To say it's negative on a cultural level is the wrong thing to say. We would go on stage and we would sit there in Japan. We went there once in Japan and they said, you want to do a Q&A thing? And I said, yeah, we'll do a Q&A. I'll tell you what, make sure there's a couple of acoustic guitars and we can, if people want, we can show them how to play a couple of songs. Me and Jeff played acoustic guitars. We played a Venom set longer than the set we were planning to play on a show because people didn't want to ask questions. They just wanted us to play Venom songs. So we played all sorts. We played, Sons of Satan in a blues lick. The same with Bloodlust in an acoustic way. Now, this will blow your mind to think that the metal community and this is negative and all of the bad stuff you get from a political angle. Imagine us in Japan, in Osaka, in a record store with these 100 and whatever it was, Japanese people in suits because they just came from work. So the women were very well dressed and the men were very well dressed because they're very well dressed going to work, clapping along to us playing acoustically in League with Satan. And they joined us on the chorus. Now, that's insane. But they were all had smiles. They were all enjoying themselves. And when we play shows, we can be doing something so dark, so black metal. You look out, you're playing black metal, and all these kids and girls with a big smile smashing themselves into each other. If you're an onlooker and you don't understand what's happening, that looks very aggressive. It looks very like, oh my God, what's going on? And very evil. But we know it isn't. It's absolutely positive. Nobody goes home and breaks into someone's car or beats somebody up or goes and punches an old lady and steals a bag after the shows because we're all happy. We're all fucking tired and we're drunk and we're happy and it was amazing. And that's what Slayer does. That's what Metallica does. That's what Dio did. That's what Motorhead does. That's what Iron Maiden does. That's what Rammstein does. It's what Ghost does. It's what Behemoth does. It's what Immortal does, and it's what Venom does. And that's what people need to get a grip of, is that this is a way of expressing. And it may look different to your experience, but you should allow yourself the experience to understand it. It's like standing outside of the Sistine Chapel, but not going in. It's like standing outside of the library in Ephesus and not going in. It's like, well, it's there. It looks shit. How the fuck do you know? You don't know what it looks like inside. You're guessing. There's something else in there. You may go in and go, oh my God, this is the most amazing experience I've ever had in my life. But if you don't go to the top of Mount Fuji, you can't tell me it sucks up there. Do you know what I mean? You can't tell me the view is crap from the top of Mount Everest if you don't go to the top of Mount Everest. You have to go there to then experience it. And I think that's the analogy for life. And music is life. It is life. You guys are Italian. My Italian sucks. That's what all my Italian friends tell me. But my South American sucks. That's what they tell me. My Portuguese is crap. That's what my Portuguese friends tell me. I don't speak Japanese. I don't speak Mandarin. I don't speak Russian. I do speak English, so I can communicate in Americas, in North America. But if we go to all of those countries, regardless of whether I can actually communicate in those languages, or whether I'm a Catholic or a Buddhist or a Hindu or a Muslim, if we play Countess Bathory, everybody sings the words. That's the music. That's beyond everything else. When you're playing it and people are singing it, there's no politics, there's no religion, there's no language barrier. There is just the experience of the music. And that's the purity of the art. That's the purity of the art. And that's what we're trying to get to. And I completely forgot the question because I was just talking and you should have stopped me.
You really nailed the question. And I'm really glad that there's people that I respect.
I'm glad I got the question, because if you'd stopped me halfway through and said what was my name, I don't even.
I was really listening to you because I know that the people, a person I respect, like you, have the same vision that I had for the most time of my life. Because I don't like, for example, I like some bands like Rage Against the Machine or Sepultura. Okay, but I always try to separate the politics and the music, because I think that music is a noble thing, kind of aristocratic thing, using the Latin word aristocratic, okay, and feed with this dirty thing of the human materialistic dirty thing. It's not something like that, because I think that a black metal band, a death metal band, a metalcore band, an hardcore band have its own message, and they wanna enjoy the music, the people. I don't care if you are X, Y, Z. I care of what you are you're singing, the energy that you put in your live session, and also your loyalty to the fans, because you can say this, we do this for the fans. Because when you get messages on your Facebook or in email, they say thanks for your music because they have to do through this, through that, and other things. I think this is most important.
It's Nurgle, from Behemoth. I mean, there's some of the music he really likes, that he really loves. That's some of it's not metal, of course, either. But he, sometimes if he likes an act and there's some kind of political, he won't read interviews. He doesn't want to read interviews or anything else because he doesn't want to destroy the purity of how he feels about the music. And I think that's it. If the music inspires you, do you want to read all the bad stuff about, all the back? No. You just connect to the music, and that's what becomes important, I think.
Another things that Lemmy said back in the days was when he was wearing his stuff, military stuff from German World War II stuff. He said, "I don't care which is bad or good. I live in an era that I cannot deal what is bad and what is good because they are a point of view." And this is a great thing for an artist because it's very out of every kind of boxes. It's really out of
the ordinary.
Out of the ordinary. He talked about the boxes. Okay, I wear black because I love to wear black. I don't care about all the stuff here. So it's really this great thing made an artist with the A leather, the caption leather. Okay, so hearing those things from you, it's really, really great because I think that music is one of the most important things that we have created as human beings. So don't corrupt music, is my opinion, with all the stuff. We can talk about our reality. We did in our album. Kirion wrote the lyrics about the reality around us, that it's dirty, it's about the environment, all that stuff. But I think that there is also a positive message also in this kind of music that common people say that it is bad. But I think that we as an artist, we put the balls and we say, this is my vision, may be misunderstood, but I want to say what I have to say because I'm free to say this.
I think the purity of music, which has always been the same, is that we did an EP for Empire Viva. It was the first thing we did, and we had two new songs, but that's what we had. People wanted us to play shows. And it was like, well, we play shows. What are we going to play? We got 2 songs. So you just want us to play Venom songs. I mean, but we're not Venom, so we want to play new material. So I said, well, why don't we do some cover songs? And so we agreed, the 3 of us, that we would pick 4 songs from bands that we loved that made us want to play music, and so for Anton it was AC/DC, for Jeff it was Judas Priest, and for me it was Motorhead, obviously. And then we thought, well, let's pick a Kiss song, because we all kind of came to Kiss at that point. So we picked God of Thunder from Kiss, also because that was one of the songs that Venom in the early days with Clive, before Kronos was the singer, they used to rehearse that song. So they thought, oh, well, that's quite fitting. Jeff I chose Exciter by Judas Priest. I thought that was a great choice. I chose Motorhead by Motorhead, and Anton chose Hell Ain't a Bad Place to Be by AC/DC. So we recorded all the stuff, and that was all great. And I don't know if the versions are brilliant or not, but they were fun to do. However, we had this finished on Creatures of the Black, so we had this to go. And then I was to do the lyrics. So, of course, I did Motorhead, was like, yeah, great, fantastic. I get to play the opening bass. I get to sing it, fucking brilliant. Then do God of Thunder. Yeah, God of Thunder. Ooh, yeah, brilliant. That's great. Then I do Judas Priest. Ooh, fucking hell, it's Rob Halford. Now, I'm not falsetto, and it's like, stand by my I was like, oh, my God. Fuck. But the hardest song to do was Hell Ain't a Bad Place to Be by Bon Scott. A sleazy, bluesy song to do. Should be easy, but it was the hardest one to do. Not this Rob Halford one, but that. Why? Because I discovered then, if you're going to sing a Bon Scott song, you have to have lived the Bon Scott life for it to be real. And he knew the woman Rosie. So when he sung a whole lot of Rosie, he was singing about this woman he knew. I want to tell you a story about a woman I know. Now, you could sing it, I could sing it, everybody could sing it, but we didn't know Rosie. So when we sing it, it's just a nice song to sing with a nice phrasing. But when he sung it, he was singing about Rosie that he knew. Touch Too Much was an experience of his. So you think, fucking hell. Then I realized that the music has to mean something. So when you were saying about your album and you guys wrote about environmental stuff and where you live, and that's why it works. That's when it's a great album. Because if I'm writing about how shit it is to live on the streets in New York, first of all, I don't live on the streets. Secondly, I don't live in New York. So how the fuck am I gonna, how is that gonna sound? You're gonna see that, well, that doesn't really connect with you because it doesn't seem real, because I don't do that. If I went and lived on the streets in New York for a month and then wrote the song, it'd probably be a better song. But you know what I mean? So songs are experience. So you always have to speak from your experience for them to be much better songs. And what better way to do it to sing about what you're experiencing, your environment, your friends, your girlfriend, how it works, you know? When you listen to those early songs by Lemmy, Lawman, Poison, Dead Men Tell No Tales, you know, the Salacious Stuff, Reptile, Cat Chasers, they were meant something. And I always remember when he wrote Ace of Spades, and someone said, you know, so you wrote Ace of Spades about playing poker, and he said, I don't play poker, I don't play cards. And they went, but Ace of Spades is all about playing poker. He said, I play fruit machines, but you can't write a song about a fruit machine. So I wrote a song about gambling. And I was like, okay. So, you know, I think that's the connection again with music. They're connecting with your story. And if you speak from your experience, that will come through bang, straight away. That will come through straight away. When you're singing, you can write songs about a character or like a fairy tale, and it may be a good book like Harry Potter or a shit book like something else. I don't know. But that's a risk. But if you really want to connect with fans with your music in an extreme way, the more you put yourself into the music, the more real it is, the more they'll connect to it. Because every 16-year-old, it doesn't matter whether they're tall, short, fat, thin, girl, boy, Asian, black, Muslim, they're all 16-year-olds. They've all got exactly the same human 16-year-old shit we all have. Acne, self-consciousness, questioning, nobody understands me, you know. So that's what you're tapping into. Humans. You're not tapping into a race or a genre. You're tapping into another human. So the more that they can connect with you, the more they'll follow you forever, because they connect with you. It means something to them. We came off stage in Washington State once, and I came off the end of the show, walked around, and there was a big guy with a big white beard, looked like Father Christmas. And he looked like he was crying. And I walked past him, went, "You okay?" And went out, came back in, and just looked like he's crying. And so I went on stage, and I come back off again. I was going to pass him for the third time, taking my stuff out to be loaded out. And so I went up to this guy, and I went, hey man, are you okay? He's like, "Yeah, why?" I said, "Oh, sorry, I thought you were crying." He went, "I was." I was like, "So you're okay?" He went, "Yeah, you did it." I went, "I made you cry?" He went, "Yeah." I went, "How did I make you cry?" He said, "The first Venom song I ever heard was a single, Live Like an Angel." He said, "When you played it tonight, I was a 16-year-old boy again, and I just couldn't stop crying." That's how it made him feel. Now, that's when you know you've done it. That's when you know you've done it. I'm not just up there singing songs because, this is cool, or don't I look cool? Don't I look like Lemmy? Aren't I cool to be up here? I'm singing the songs the way they should be, to connect with people. And when you get that kind of response, you know you're doing the job right. That's what the beautiful thing of music is.
I 100% agree with this. Also, when you talked about the Bon Scott song "Well Rosie," the best thing of the music, and you can also find connection with your own life with a song which is written for anything else.
Yes.
And this is the beautiful thing, because you can never imagine what a song means for a people. You said about everyone as, for example, 16 years old, regardless of the culture, country. Yeah, this is the music. And when I see some other stuff try to infiltrate in the music industry, I really feel like betrayed, because I wanna stay as an artist and listen to music and enjoy the moment. So this is very huge thing you said, and really cool and inspirational to listen to stuff from you. And I want to read a question from Maria. She said, "Is there a person outside the musical environment that inspired you or represent as a guide for you outside the music?"
Yes, two people, and not because of anything. They're in the early 70s. We emigrated to Canada, my family, to Windsor, Ontario. And my older sister, she's 3 years older, she hooked up with a guy who lived across the street, who was on the football team, and all that. And he had a set of weights, and I was 12. And we used to go to the basement and start lifting weights in the basement. And he came back from high school one day and went, "Who the fuck's been touching my weights?" And we were like, me and his brother were like, "Oh, we just had to kind of go." And he said, "Right, you want to do weights? Well, let's go do weights." I was like, "Oh, fuck." So I went down and he had me do this workout. I was like, fucking hell, I was only 12. And he's a kind of big guy. And then he gave me a magazine. I went, "Take that home, have a look at that." And I took the magazine home, and it was a very early Muslim Fitness or a Universe mag. I can't, it was Muscle Sport or something. And on the cover was Vic Reeves. I can't remember his name, not Vic Reeves, Steve Reeves, who had done Hercules and was a bodybuilder. And inside, there was a big exhibit of a guy called Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I looked at this guy, and I just was like, whoa, that was the beginning of the whole thing. And not long after, I'd seen a movie which this guy had written, had a strange name too, because this guy was called Arnold Schwarzenegger. I was like, what fucking kind of name is that? And then this other guy who didn't have a good accent, didn't speak so clearly, but had written a movie. He'd been challenged to a studio who wanted to buy the movie but didn't want to put him in it. And it was a guy called Sylvester Stallone, and it was Rocky. And I remember that story of him knowing that he was the right person, he had to be Rocky. It doesn't matter what he did at Rambo. I'm not into all of that and Expendables and all of that other stuff he's done. But it was that film at that point. It showed that his determination was, I don't, that's how he talks. And, you know, and his name's Sylvester Stallone. Are you fucking kidding? You got to change your name. He's like, no, that's who I am. And it's like, well, you can't play this. You're not a good enough actor. We need a big star to play this. No, I'm Rocky. I'm Rocky. And he became Rocky. And look, it was one of the greatest films, you know, of that era. And the same thing with Arnold. Arnold was a kid, ended up going to America. He's fucking was the governor of California. I mean, he was the Terminator. He's like, fucking hell, Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's like, was at one point the highest star and the biggest name, you know, in Hollywood. And it's like, wow. And he'd written a book called The Encyclopedia of a Bodybuilder. And it was a big, big book with his whole training regime and everything. And I got one of the books. But then there was a little paperback book. And it was just him talking about his training, about his experience, about his journey. And it's just a paperback about this thing. I still got it, you know, and I bought it in New York in 1970 something. And I think it costed like $2. And I had it in my pocket for 20 years. It was with me everywhere. And every time I felt that I didn't know what to do, or I felt a bit uninspired, or I felt like giving up, I'd get the book out, I'd start to read. And he didn't give up. He was determined. He didn't care about his name. He didn't care about his accent. He was going to do what he was going to do, and he was going to be the best bodybuilder on the planet. And he did it 8 times and made comebacks. And then he was biggest Hollywood star. And then he became the governor of California. Something that people said, well, you can't do that. It won't happen. But he did it. And it doesn't matter if he's the best actor in the world or whatever, or what his politics are. For me as a young boy, those two stories of these two guys, you know, who were non-conformist, not musicians, you know, but non-conformist, and everything should have been wrong about them. They made it. It worked. And I'm like, wow. So you could just believe in yourself enough and still be successful. That's all you need to do. As long as you believe in yourself, you just can do it, and that's it. So you know, those kind of things are absolutely inspirational, And you know, and it's another reason why I keep my, you know, social media open. You know, Jeff is quite Jeremy is very, you know, up there, full of energy and always doing something. And Jeff is very kind of reclusive in a way. He's kind of shy and quiet, and you know, he's very astute, but he doesn't dig the social media talking to everybody all the time. He's like, oh, he likes to be kind of private. But for me, it's very different. And he goes, oh, you know, you're making work for yourself. Why would you, you know, do that all the time? Because you get crazy people, and lots of people want to come and tell me what a wanker I am and stuff. And that's cool too. You know, I love passion. Passion is everything. But you know, you got to take them rough with the smooth. I don't mind a fight if that's what they want. But the point is that, you know, I think to myself, if I had the opportunity to wake up on a morning and to message Lemmy, say, oh, Lemmy's online, and go, hey, Lem, how are you? And he wrote back, yeah, I'm cool. Have a good day. That would do me for a month. I'd be like, oh, fuck, Lemmy knows I exist. And he wants me to have a good day. I mean, Lemmy wants me to have a good day. I mean, as a fan, that's incredible. And so that's why I love social media, and that's why I think it's important. Sometimes it's hard, and if you're working and stuff, but the value is I'm connecting to everybody in the music, when we go and play shows, and online. You know, that for me is unbeatable. You know, if we were Metallica, I can't do it to 5 million people online all the time. So I can't just chat to everybody. And if I'm at shows, I can't meet absolutely everybody. I understand this logistically. But while you can, why wouldn't you want to do that? Why wouldn't you want to do that? So that's kind of my ethos, you know.
In fact, I can really appreciate your mentality, your ethos, because this kind of mentality bring you to talk with us. We are nobody, so basically it's a really huge honor to be here listening to you, because
everybody is somebody. guys are awesome.
Yeah.
And that's it. You know, the thing is to go, you know, that there's a level of who you are and success in that. We're all the same. We're all the same people. We're just at different stages of our journey, you know. And you know, when you asked, what's the difference between, you know, I don't do you know, maybe another artist, like you said, you tried to get Conrad, or maybe you go like, well, who is it for? Metal Hammer, okay. Not Metal Hammer, not okay. That's value in this, but there's not value in that. You know, it's like, you know, it's the BBC, but it's only an online web service. So it's like, you know, for me, it's like, it's all connecting us. So, you know, you guys are somebody. You're in a great band. You're all, you know, in one of my favorite places in Napoli, home of pizza. If anybody didn't know that, that's where it comes from. You know, that's where it comes from, Pompeii.
Yeah.
And so, you know,
the best, the creators of the pizza. Yeah.
Oh, mamma. But then that's making me hungry.
Tony, are still with us because the screen is freezing right now.
Yeah, I'm here. I can hear. I'm good.
Okay. Tony, are you with us?
Yeah.
Okay. You said, yeah, it's really a new thing you said. Yeah, basically, if we have the possibility, you are officially invited here to have a pizza party. You can bring all the guys from Venom Inc. Just to tell you a little story, Kirion here, it's really a person that really loves to eat very well.
Oh, really?
When we were recording our album, we traveled to the north of Italy, and we say, "No, guys, what's up to the dinner?" Because we rent a small house. What's up to dinner? Let's have. No, I want to do this. I want only this, like kind of stuff. Like now, in fact, there was some crazy stuff about this. We as Neapolitans, we love to eat very well.
Oh yeah.
For example, we really had the fights after the recording session because Kirion wants to have something like this. Me wants something like this. We just went crazy on food, and we are Italian, so food for us is everything. But look, as from the food, also the connection with people. So it's everything for us.
Look here. Let's see if you see what it says there.
Foggia.
Foggia?
Yeah.
Yeah. Roma Foggia. Yeah. See.
Why Foggia?
Foggia. And I also I have more Italian on my back. But Foggia, we went to play a show in Foggia, and in this part of Italy, they said, yes, we eat loads because we're Italians. Great food. I said, oh, yes, I know Italians like to eat a lot of food. So we went, oh, my God, I haven't seen so much food. You eat all day. I mean, and the food is amazing. We had the most amazing food. And I remember they said, we went to the show, and they said, Tony, we have food for you backstage. I was like, okay. And there was pasta and dishes and cheeses and everything. So we spent like an hour in there, we're eating everything. And then we sit down, we're just talking. They knock on the door, they come in. I said, oh, hi. They come in with trays of food. They said, we brought your supper for you. It was like, holy fuck, we've just eaten all of this food. And there was like more food. And they went, well, do you want to eat it now? And I said, we'll keep it for after the show, but we've got more food for you after the show. I was like, oh my God, how much food are we going to eat? But it was just super. It was super, you know. And that's what I love, you know. I just love that Italianness. I was in Tuscany once. We stayed in a place called Migliorini in the Tuscan hills. And it rained so much that we nicknamed it Migliorini. But it wasn't far from the village where Da Vinci was born and lived. And we were driving up one day. We went to Firenze. We were coming back up to the Tuscan hills. And we thought, oh, let's stop and have some lunch. And they're tiny little villages. And we saw this little restaurant. So we stopped the car. We went in and said, excuse me, can we get some lunch? And yes, come in. And there was a big long table with like about 10 little old Italian guys sitting at this table, and they were obviously having their lunch. And we looked through the menu. Oh, what would you like? So we had like the set menu. Just give us the set menu. That's fine. We're cool. We'll just have whatever dishes come. You have your starter, your friend. I remember they brought the plates they were bringing out were like this, a plate of pasta. So we ate all this. I ate all this pasta in the plate. They took it away. Then they came up with the fish, and I was like, "What's that?" They went, "Fish." I thought that was my meal, and they went, "No, that's just a start." I was like, "Holy fuck!" And then the fish goes, and then they bring you meat, and it's like, I just had the 2 bowls of pasta and a fish, and now I've got. It's like, oh my god! And I said to one of them, I said, "How long do these people have their lunch? These guys, these little old guys at the table?" And she went, "Oh, 4 or 5 hours, maybe. Just take their time." And I'm like, "Oh my god, they have their lunch for 4 or 5 hours." It was like amazing. But that's pure Italian, you know. You walk in the sun, you drink your wine slowly, you take in the atmosphere, you look at the beauty of the buildings and the scenery, and you enjoy your food. You know, in London, you can go like that. They're pouring a cup of coffee in one hand and shoving a sandwich in their face and just keeping their head down and running to the next thing. And you miss life that way, you know. So I love that purity of Italy. It's why I love Italy so much, because when you're there, you just breathe. You breathe more, and I don't know. It's beautiful. So.
Oh. Yeah, really great to hear something like that from you, because Italians are some strange. We love our place till we go away.
Yes.
We cannot appreciate the beauty of our landscape, our culture, and people that it's from another country says this thing from Italy is not a stereotype. It's a bit stereotypical, but it's the truth of Italians. It's the fact that we are kind of direct people. We move the hands a lot, okay, those stupid stuff. But I really feel the naturality of all the stuff. So it's really great to hear this thing for you. Talking about this, there is Chris Blackford said, really appreciate the organic nature of this conversation. Yeah, this conversation is quite informal.
Hope you're well. Hi, Chris. Sorry, hope you're well. Look, Chris is in America, so you know they're just coming together with the pandemic thing there, and so it's going to be crazy. But be safe, everybody. Be safe, and just you know, do as they're telling us. I guess what more can we do? You know, we'll all get to the other side. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's like we stepped into a parallel universe all of a sudden. You know, it's like, oh, we just wake up, we go to sleep, we wake up, we eat, we do our things, we're going to do this. And then the world just went stop and it paused us. And now it's like, fuck, what do we do now? It's pretty scary. Yeah. I mean, how long will we be held down? We don't know. You know, how long it's going to go on. And each country has its own way of doing it. So, you know, I don't see, you know, when you have the wealth of globally, the global wealth of everybody, the global advances. Like you'll tell me there'll be one of the best plastic surgeons in the world is in Napoli. I'll say, oh, well, of course, one of the best blah, blah, blah is in London. And Chris would say, oh, one of the best things is in New York or Los Angeles or Beijing, in Moscow. So we have all these incredible laboratories, all these incredible brains, all of this wealth of the whole country, of the whole planet. I don't see why everybody didn't come together and solve this or just attack it as one thing. And still you have countries trying to help other countries now, and countries try to do it by themselves. And it was like, this wasn't something that was for Italians to deal with or Spanish to deal with or the British to deal with. This was for humanity. It was for humanity.
I think that this is something that you can, you know, there is so much politics in the middle between countries, and there is so much behind. So we cannot expect that people will connect one day to the other and make the solution. Maybe the solution is just in the air, you know, and we don't know it.
You know,
so we can just make.
Yeah. I would hope that what is learned from this, what comes out of this, is that people reevaluate capitalism. They reevaluate what's important. They reevaluate the politics between countries and go that if there's something like this on this kind of scale, and this thing, of course, is making people sick and killing some people, but it could be much worse. If this was a worse thing that didn't make people sick, just killed you, everything would be over. You know, we'd be exterminated in how many weeks? A couple of months. So I think this is an opportunity for us to go, we should reevaluate how we are with each other, how the, you know, politically and financially and everything else. So, you know, I hope that when we get through this, you know, as a world community, we come out much better at the other end than we were where we were. I hope
that people will gonna enjoy more the time that they have and the way that they're gonna use it instead of spending at home or whatever else.
Yeah,
I mean, there is a lot of to travel, a lot of to see, a lot of to do instead of stay home. We have enough time to stay home now, so I think I hope that
we definitely
of this people can travel more. I think travel more and learn more and
learn more, eat more food from everywhere and learn more languages. Yeah, exactly. Someone said to me, Oliver Weisheimer, who does the Keep It True festival in Germany, which is kind of where we introduced Venom Inc. after we did an Empire show, and he put up on his social media, what's everybody going to do when this is all over? So I put, I'm gonna go to bed and watch a movie. Because I thought, I don't know, you know, I mean, I don't even drink beer, but I would go straight to a pub and have a pint of beer just because it's like, I want to do stuff. Exactly what you just said, Kirion. It's just experience life. The things I haven't done yet, get doing it, experience it straight away. And I think that's the value it's teaching us at the minute, is that it could all go, and maybe it's Mother's Nature's way of going, hold on a second, you do realize that if I wanted to just change everything, I just could. And maybe people go, oh shit, we should maybe enjoy ourselves a bit more and you know, involve ourselves a bit more, hopefully. So that's a lesson hopefully we're learning, the worst way that we could learn, the most horrendous way. You know, I've lost about 20 people, friends that I've known, and another 5 have came up in the last few days who have it. And you know, some of us can't afford to get it. You know, Mantis can't afford to get it. He has a heart, and his partner, she has some underlying health things, and so they can't afford to get it either. And you're like, wow, you know, it just makes you reevaluate things and how it is. You know, things that you took for granted that you can't take for granted now. So there we are.
Yeah, basically, try what you say, and it's something huge, because try to keep your time with your dear ones and enjoy every minute, because we just live a really shock, because we take for granted so many things, and now we are locked down with this pandemic stuff. Okay, but I think that hope that all the stuff can really people appreciate their lives, the dear ones, the friends.
You know, I'm sure, you know, even for the fact that you would go to the bakery on a morning and just buy your bread, and there's like 1,000 loaves, you know, 100 loaves, 50 loaves. You go to the bakery tomorrow morning, you got a queue for 2 hours and by the time you get there, if you're at the end of the queue, there's 1 loaf left or no loaves left. You know, it's things like that. It's like, oh, wow. You know, and then people went crazy and panicked, and they bought like all the loaves and all the toilet paper and all of the milk and all of the things. And then other people go, what the fuck are you doing? And now they're throwing it out because they bought all this stuff that they didn't need. And, you know, and some of it hasn't kept, you know, so they panicked, you know, and now we go to the stores, and a few people at a time go in and they all buy 1 item or 2 items, and you can do it you know, we've kind of reevaluated the system to go, you don't need to be greedy. We can all have the same. Don't worry about it. You know, it's teaching people to go, oh yeah, I have to forget. I've reevaluating the way I was thinking. I don't have to think like that. It's like, no, you don't. You don't. You know, you can buy 3 and have 3, and then when you run out, you come back and buy another 3. It's okay. You know, you don't have to buy 20 when you're only going to use 2. You know.
Okay, Tony, we are really at the night shot. I just want to say just few questions before we end this marvelous shot we had this evening. It was really great to hear your opinions, your sharing your experience. It's really huge. I really thank you a lot. And talking about just digressing, because I have the question here, but we totally went out of control, which is great. No, which is great because it's what Chris, the guy, said. It's really organic. We are really talking like we were around the table with something, and we talk about
with
just saying
with some pizza and some
yeah.
You're gonna miss the pizza.
Water. I really love this. I really love this chat. Really love this. And speaking about your other interests, I have one book from a guy about black metal. You wrote a chapter on it called "The European Roots of Black Metal," which was really great. You also joined in make some movies too, right?
Yes.
What is your experience of being a musician? Also take and join in other adventures like writing stuff or make movies as actor. Which there is a connection, or is another passion you have?
I would class my passion as just to be alive. That's my passion. People communicating with people is my passion. You know, when I was a young person and before I left school, we used to have tutorial lessons, and they would ask, what are you know, trying to train you for an occupation. And I come from, all my family built ships. You know, my father was a plater building ships. My uncles were carpenters and whatever. And so obviously I was in a shipping industry, so I was going to go and buy ships. But I said in a tutorial, when they said, what do you want to do with your life, Dolan? And I said, I want to meet everybody on the planet before I die. And he went, okay. No, seriously, what do you want to do with your life? I mean, what are you expecting? And I said, I'd like to meet everybody on the planet before I die. And he said, well, that's ridiculous. How could you meet everybody on the planet? I said, well, I can't. But if that's my goal, it means I'm going to go all over the planet and meet so many people trying to meet everybody on the planet. Isn't that going to be amazing? And he said, you're a ridiculous boy. You're a lost cause. And I'd like to meet him now. He's long since dead. And when he goes, so what did you end up doing? I said, I ended up going all over the planet, meeting everybody. That's what I ended up doing, what I wanted to do. But I think that, you know, the writing, because I do voiceovers, I do some writing, I do film editing, I do, you know, I directed or Dein Fleisch. I actually made it with Camila, my friend, and Weltiama, who's in Rome. But Camila Production, she helped me put a team together, and I shot the video in Rome, you know, at a friend's place. And I directed it and edited it. And so, you know, I don't see the divergence between the two, writing or performing or, you know, voiceover or editing or working in visuals. You know, for me, it's all just one thing. It's all just creativity. And when it came to the movies, you know, it was initially by accident. I was working with the Royal Shakespeare Company. I was a touring master carpenter. So I would take the sets around the world, and we did a 15-month tour. We were in India for several months, and Mexico, and all over the place. And you know, there was a show where there was a problem with one of the actors. He got sick. The stage management said, you know, one of the actors sick. They knew I love Shakespeare. I was always quoting the show backstage and just, you know, playing around. And they said, we need someone to go on and be this part. And I said, okay, well, let's have a think who we could get. And they went, you. I said, me? I'm not an actor. They went, yeah, but you know the play and you know the part and you know the show. And I was like, well, yeah, but I mean, and they went, please. So I went, fuck it, okay. So I put the costume on and went on and did it. I was like, wow, that was amazing. We finished the tour in San Francisco. Another month passed. I was back in London doing another job, and I got a phone call from the director, and he said, hey, Tony, how are you? I said, yeah, great. He said, look, do you remember when we were away on tour and we had this problem and you came on and you did the part? And I was like, yeah, that was amazing. Yeah, it was so cool. And he went, yeah, we've got a kind of similar problem again. One of the actors' mom's just died, and we need someone to fill in for the weekend at the theater. And I just went into the dressing room and I said, does anybody know anybody we could call that knows the part? And they all went, Tony Dolan. So would you come down? And I was like, when? And he said, now. I said, okay. So I just went, and that was it. And that led to me going, I want to learn to act. And then I did a bit of acting, and then I thought I'd like to do something with the Royal Shakespeare Company. And then I was doing a play with the Royal Shakespeare Company, and I said, oh, it'd be cool to do some TV. And then all of a sudden I was doing TV, and then I thought, wow, wouldn't it be amazing to make a movie? And then I was doing Judge Dredd, and then I was doing Master and Command, and then I did Dirty War, and then, so when people say, how did you, get into that? I was like, I've got no idea. I just remember wanting to do it. I didn't do anything special. I just wanted to do it, and I did it. I think what I learned was that you can't do music and tour and do that as well. You can't, not at my level. Maybe if I was James Hetfield or something like that, I could, because I got so much money, then I don't need to worry about it. But at my level, I'm a working musician. We do big shows, small shows. I don't care. We just keep touring, and I like that. And so I don't kind of have the time. It's not about the money. I have the money. I don't have the time. And so, I don't have the time to dedicate to it. And you need to have the time to dedicate to it. Otherwise, it's just another thing and it doesn't mean anything. And so, there's still scripts come through and offers of things, but they don't fit with the scheduling. If they did, I might do some. Some of them are not so good. Some of them are pretty cool. I've turned down a couple of things that I should have said yes to that went on to be really cool. I'm like, oh, fuck. I didn't realize. But, I'm still happy. Again, you set your level of success as your own goal. You might go, well, you're not really that successful because I didn't want to buy into the Hollywood thing. At that level, I could have done other things. There was offers of management and an agent who was trying to get me interested. And I kind of shied away from it because, when you go to Hollywood parties, you realize that that's not who I am. I'm not like that. These people, if you're in a successful TV show or you're in a successful movie, brilliant, you're great, everybody talks to you, you're wonderful, you go to all the parties. If you do something that didn't work out, it doesn't pull it at the box office, or it fails, you might as well be your mum living up in a mountain, because nobody will talk to you and you don't get invited anywhere. And that's kind of how they work. If you're successful, everybody's with you, and if you're kind of like that, then nobody really wants you hanging around. So you're constantly in this battle to find a successful thing. So it becomes fake. Everybody you meet smile and go, oh, I love you. Hey, how are you? Hey, it's good to meet you. Because, yeah, no, it's beautiful. Yeah. Then I see you tomorrow and you go, hey, how you doing, Tony? I don't even know who you are. Who are you? And you go, but yesterday we talked and I'm like, no, because I found out that you weren't successful, or that your TV show didn't work. And I just thought, fuck, that's not me. I'm not like that. I'd spend all my time at parties telling people to go fuck themselves. I'd be like getting drunk and smashing up the place or something. I thought, I can't do this. This is not who I am. So I pulled out of it, and like I say, the things come up and you think maybe, but I think if you have something you want to say, you say it. If that's picking up a paintbrush and painting it, picking up a pencil and drawing it, getting onto your word on your and writing it, or picking up a guitar or a set of drums or whatever it is, just express yourself. And so I don't see the difference between the dynamics of them is different. Like if I'm writing, I don't need to go anywhere. I can stay at home. If I'm wanting to play the music, then of course I'm going to go out and tour at some point. If I have to do a movie or a TV thing, then I have to make the effort to go. And so they each have a practical difference. But creatively, it's the same thing. It's just creating. You're just using a different media to express yourself exactly in every way. Yes. Sorry, it was a short answer.
No,
I meant a short answer.
You also answered the next question about the difference between the music and acting.
Okay.
But those words reminds me of a discussion that I saw on internet of Christopher Lee that said that he tried to do in his occasion. He said he made a voiceover for the Italian band Rhapsody. He said, I accepted because a long time friend, which is called Sir Thomas Beecham, which is I think an old TV presenter, English TV presenter. So you should try everything in your life because everything is a challenge and life is a challenge too, and it should be. So basically, I think that you really explained it really well, that it's not important if you play music, if you do acting, it's how you do it, how much of effort you put on it, and it's really huge because I think that basically people tend to make differences between cinema, theater, music. Also, we born as an association also to help out those guys, not only the music. Okay, we play heavy metal. I'm a drummer. Kirion is a vocalist. My brother played the bass. Andrea and Vika playing guitar. Okay, we are metal guys. We play metal, but we also love the cinema, the theater, and we want to treat art. We want to treat art as one thing.
Yeah.
And having your words here in this page, in this because Volta Lab is a no-profit association that will carry art in 300 degrees, any discrimination. It's really the core of our message in your world. So I'm really glad about your answering the previous question, because if some people, can you tell me what is Volta Lab? I will give you the clip of Tony said, this is what we want to do. And basically, we want to try to have a kind of community around us. Even if we are stuck at home, we are talking into a webcam, but I can feel the energy. Okay, this is what I want: the energy of the people, of a great man like you, because a person who says those things is a man that I really respect, really appreciate his style, his mentality, because he said the truth. I think that this is most important nowadays in the music, in the art. We have a problem.
Yeah, I mean, well, thank you. Very kind words. We should probably end it, but we can do it another time. But I just wanted to say, I should go now because it's kind of late for you guys, and you're an hour. But I just wanted to say that it is very important, the art, and what you guys are doing as well. And also, thank you for having me and having such a great chat and stuff. And we should do it more. We should do it again over pizza in Napoli. However, I think there's a key point there, and I think that you said, okay, we're trying to do this, and we're stuck at home, but look, we're stuck at home, but look where we are. I'm in London. Look where you guys are, and we're here. And we not only have done that, but we'll be sharing it on a social media site with people, from all over the planet. All over Italy and from different sides of the planet. That's the beauty of what we have. So we may be stuck in one place, but we're not stuck alone. We're all in it together. And that's, again, the community spirit of our art and what we do. And it doesn't matter if you play a fucking trumpet in a brass band, if you play a heavy metal guitar like Ingrid Malmsteen, or you're in Dayside, or you're in AC/DC, or you're part of a ballet unit, or you're an actor, a singer, a dancer, painter. None of it matters. It's all about entertaining. And the key point is when sometimes people forget, I can't go to my fucking job. I don't have a job now, and I have to stay home, and I have to, and this is all. And but they forget that the actors and the singers and the dancers and the musicians are all doing the same thing. But when they go home, what do? They put their music on, or they put their TV on, and they're watching these actors and these dancers and the same people who are also unemployed are the people that they go to for their recreation. So the art, and this is what I want politicians in Italy very much to know, that the art is integral to a society. It is the all, because they go, oh, this is really bad and this is bad influence. Well, what do they do when they go home to relax? They put the TV on. They want to watch a movie. They want to get some popcorn and watch a movie, or they want to listen to Debussy or whatever it is. And who's to say what's good and bad in art? It's how you feel. It's how it makes you feel and how you look. If you look at a painting, the three of us look at the Mona Lisa, the three of us look at it three different ways, and we feel three different emotions. It's the same thing with music. And nobody is excluded from that. Every politician.
Yeah. You really said all the things that I wanted to share this evening. So we just chatted for 2 hours and a half.
Okay.
I will just do Tony, simply another minute. I will end this episode. I wanna hello guys, I'm Graziano and Kirion from Bolt Lab. We want to thank all the people that really listened whole hour chatting to this evening with Tony Demolition Man Dolan from Venom Inc. We are really glad to him sharing his experience. My brother on the background, it's fooling me while I'm talking. Anyway, thank you for everybody. Great questions, great stuff here. You can watch it this episode also when this live chat ends too on the page. Anyway, Tony, looking forward to meet you on the road when this madness ends. We hope to spend we wish to spend a lot of great time when we will play together. We will really we look forward for this. We in private tell me your size for your of your shirt, because we want to save one shirt and one CD for you, because we will even if you don't like the music, just a gift for your
just pretend. Yeah.
And anyway, guys, please follow Venom Inc on social media. Thanks to Tony again, and yeah, a big hug from Italy. Ciao. Play fucking metal and have a great evening.
All right, thank you. So safe. Thank you. See you again. Thank you, everybody. Don't forget to follow these guys on their channel. Now you know where they are, and we should do it again. Okay, peace. Be good, and ciao, ciao for now.
See you next time. Ciao, ciao. See you next time.
Ciao.